Okay, today we're moving on to Chapter 5, Section 1, Algebraic Equations. Today what we're going to learn is to evaluate algebraic expressions, to define variables, and to write algebraic expressions. So let's look at our vocabulary. A variable is a symbol that represents an unknown quantity. An algebraic expression contains variables, numbers, and at least one operation. So you can look at this example here. You see the variable is n, and the algebraic expression is n plus 2. Algebra is the branch of mathematics that involves expressions with variables. So we're going to be starting algebra. Exciting. A coefficient is the number factor of a multiplication expression. So this 6D is a multiplication expression. The 6 is the coefficient, and the D is the variable. Now, when we define a variable, we choose a variable to represent an unknown quantity. So let's look at our first example. It says evaluate 2 times the quantity n plus 3 if n is equal to -4. So all that means is you need to substitute. So the first thing you're going to do is replace n with -4. So if we write that as 2 times -4 plus 3. So now we evaluate, we do the parentheses first, and we're going to use something called the distributive property. We're going to do the parentheses first. So 2, -4 plus 3, remember our integer rules, is -1. Now we're going to multiply. 2 times -1 is -2. And that's all you have to do. Make sure you've written everything down. So now, let's look at a little harder example, example 2. It says 8 times some number w minus 2 times some number v. If w is 5 and v is 3. So we have to replace w with 5 and v with 3. So let's write that. So it's 8 times 5 minus 2 times 3. So the first thing we're going to do is the multiplying. So 8 times 5 is 40 minus 2 times 3 is 6. 40 minus 6 is 34. And there you have it. Make sure you write everything down. So let's move on to example number 3. Example number 3 is evaluate 4y to the third power, that should be a small 3, plus 2 if y is equal to 3. So again, we're going to replace y with 3. So it's going to be 4 times 3 to the third power plus 2. And if you remember, 3 to the third power is 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27. So that's going to become 4 times 27 plus 2. Now we do the multiplication first, order of operations. 4 times 27 is 108 plus 2 gives me 110. And there you have it. So now let's look at example number 4. It says, athletic trainers use the formula 3 times the quantity 220 minus A divided by 5, where A is a person's age, to find their minimum training heart rate. Find Latrina's minimum training heart rate if she is 15 years old. So we're going to replace A with 15 because that's the age. So we're going to write this out. 3 times the quantity 220 minus 15, and then divide the whole thing by 5. So the first thing we're going to do is inside the parentheses, we're going to subtract. So that becomes 3 times 205 divided by 5. And the next thing we're going to do is multiply. 3 times 205 becomes 615 divided by 5. Now we're going to divide, and that becomes 123. So to answer, we would say Latrina's minimum training heart rate is 123 beats per minute. Make sure you've written everything down. Now we're going to go on to example 5. It says, Marissa wants to buy a DVD player that costs $150. She already saved $25 and plans to save an additional $10 each week. Write an expression that represents the total amount of money Marissa has saved after any number of weeks. So the only thing we're doing here is writing the expression. We're not solving. So important words are savings of $25 and then plus $10 a week. So we're going to define our variable, and we're going to say let W equal the number of weeks. So now we have to write our expression. Well, we know she already had $25, right, plus $10 each week. So that's going to be 10 times the week. So 25 plus 10W represents the total savings after any number of weeks. So now we're going to use example 5 to do example 6. It says, will Marissa have enough saved money to buy the $150 DVD player in 11 weeks? So if we use that expression, 25 plus 10W, we're going to substitute 11 for the W. So let's go 25 plus 10W. Now we're going to substitute 25 plus 10 times 11 weeks. Now we do the multiplication first, so we have 25 plus 110, and that's equal to $135. So she needs to have $150, so she will not have enough money. So we could write, Marissa will not have enough money because 135 is less than 150. And there you have it. So now complete your OYO problems. See you tomorrow.